Vast majority, folks, of Americans, they do not support illegal immigration. They don't support the crime, increased tax burden, and multicultural conflict that stems from such lawless, barbaric, and anti-American policies. The Washington deep state imposes it on us anyway. Notice I didn't specify party there. But there's a catastrophic human toll that comes from implementing and fully funding these policies. The toll is inhuman, perverted. Some would call it satanic. The cancer that is illegal immigration. That's my focus in today's preamble. As the failed border czar takes the stage tonight at the DNC, backed by not one single American vote, the Democrats have added an estimated 15 million illegal aliens to this country. That's on top of the estimated 30 million who were already here, allowed to break into our country over decades. The illegal aliens are here to do several things: bolster the electoral count of blue states that are bleeding population, as their left-wing policies impoverish real Americans. The illegal aliens are here to work the jobs at woke corporations, and illegal aliens are here to vote. Some states are giving foreign nationals the right to cancel out American votes, while other states are rising to stop the Democrats' efforts to turn over control of the United States to foreign governments. We broke this news first on the Chris Salcedo Show yesterday as Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton revealed Texas is doing something to prevent illegal participation in our elections.
So we've actually just started the investigation, but we already know we've been to several DPS locations where you get your driver's license, and where a citizen can normally register to vote. We've noticed that there are nonprofits that are setting up on DPS property, registering people coming out of DPS locations. So what's unusual about that? Well, if you're a citizen of the United States, you don't need a secondary place to go register on DPS property with a nonprofit. You would register inside of the DPS office. That's the normal process. If you're not a citizen and you can't get registered there, then that's the only reason there'd be a secondary location with a nonprofit. So we're in the middle of that investigation right now, trying to figure out how many of these locations that's occurring and how this is all going on.
So if I'm reading you correctly, if you're an illegal alien, you can't go into DPS to register to vote. That's not what's something you can do. That's not legal. So you're speculating that on the outside there are these third-party organizations that are trying to catch those people who are illegal aliens to register them to vote in the state of Texas. Is that what you're investigating?
Yeah, now you can go into a DPS office and lie about it, but there are some verification things that they do to check whether you are a citizen. But if you don't have the ability to register inside of a DPS office, I mean, it's because you're not supposed to register to vote because you're not legal. So why would these organizations be on DPS property registering people to vote unless they're registering people that are here illegally? It doesn't make sense.
As word of this spread, even trending #1 on X for a time yesterday, outrage began to build at the Democrat Party. They are the ones who impose their anti-constitutional immigration policies on all of us. The governor of the great state of Texas, Greg Abbott, weighed in on my radio show this morning.
Well, I was fired up. So to help your listeners understand how we operate collaboratively around here, I and my staff met with Ken Paxton and his staff, the Attorney General, at the governor's mansion yesterday, where we went over all of this. And we're taking multiple measures to ensure that we have integrity in the ballot box and we eliminate illegal voting. And this is one of them. You know, it starts with the registration process. And obviously what was happening at the DP offices was completely wrong and was set up in a way where it could have been registering people illegally. So first step is to shut down things like that.
But canceling out American votes in an election is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to mapping out the full scope of damage that our own government is doing to us through uncontrolled illegal immigration in our own name. The Kamala Harris and Joe Biden regime have lost track of 320,000 illegal alien children. The damning Inspector General's report reveals that the illegal aliens who Democrats have been allowing to flood into our country are not showing up for their court dates. The Biden regime is doing nothing about that. But the report also reveals that the children may find themselves either in forced labor situations or that these children will be thrust into the dark abyss of the child sex slave trade, a slave trade that has been allowed to flourish under Democrats. What's worse, using our tax dollars and in our names, the Democrats are using the government of the United States as pimps to deliver these children into sex slavery so that filthy adults can have their way with them. A whistleblower outed the Democrats' evil in an open congressional hearing a year and a half ago.
I discovered that children are being trafficked through a sophisticated network that begins with recruiting in home country, smuggling to the U.S. border, and ends when ORR delivers a child to a sponsor. Some sponsors are criminals and traffickers and members of transnational criminal organizations. Some sponsors view children as commodities and assets to be used for earning income. This is why we are witnessing an explosion of labor trafficking. Now, whether it's intentional or not, it could be argued that the United States government has become the middleman in a large-scale, multi-billion-dollar child trafficking operation.
Not one word about these children from Barack Obama or Michelle Obama or Tim A. Walls. And you won't hear Kamala Harris condemning her practice of allowing the child sex slave trade to boom in the United States as it has under her and Joe Biden's lack of leadership. You won't see the disgusting, self-avowed socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez crying over 320,000 illegal alien children who were lost by her party, the way she cried over President Trump keeping those children safe with housing, food, and a clean place to stay while he worked to stop the massive illegal immigration flows gifted to him by Barack Obama. AOC won't shed a tear for the hundreds of thousands of these abused children because she and her party did this. But they weren't alone. Every step of the way during the Biden-Harris regime, the old Republicans were voting to fully fund this disgusting and disgraceful outcome. We all watched, we all remember Mitch McConnell and John Cornyn undercutting the incoming House majority to make sure the Democrats had all the money they needed to continue this grotesque, illegal immigration agenda. Even after the whistleblower's testimony, even after the Democrats revealed their inhuman agenda, the so-called Republican Party leadership made sure the pimps in government had your money to put untold thousands of children in an unending nightmare of sexual exploitation. And what about you? Have you called your Republican lawmaker to ask how they voted each time over the last 4 years to continue massive overspending to fund all manner of anti-freedom and subhuman policies pushed by Democrats? Just how angry are you over all this? You know, I'm old enough to remember when our government wore the white hats. I remember bipartisan task forces being convened to stop child predators, stop the sexual exploitation and forced labor of women and children. Now, under Democrats, fully funded by non-America First Republicans, the government is nothing more than taxpayer-funded madams for sexual exploitation of children. And they do it all in your name. How many of you, after hearing this, will just sit back and do nothing? How many of you, at least after hearing this preamble, find it online and share it with everybody you know? How many of you are sick and tired of being ruled by lesser men and women?